Now for some key knowledge. Have you revised this topic yet? Key knowledge. For this required practical, the equation density equals mass divided by volume could be very useful. Pause the video and make sure you know this equation. Key knowledge. So for the density required practical, two parts. Firstly, measuring mass. Place your object on the digital balance and note down its mass. Part 2 is measuring volume. Set up here are the Eureka can and a measuring cylinder. Fill the Eureka can with water up to a point just below the spout. Then place an empty measuring cylinder below its spout. Carefully lower the object into the Eureka can. And finally, measure the volume of the displaced water in the measuring cylinder. We have now got mass and volume, and we can use the equation density equals mass divided by volume. Pause the video and make sure that you know this setup and the steps suggested. Key knowledge. The density of a liquid can also be calculated using a measuring cylinder and a digital balance. Pause the video and read through the method provided. Worked example. We're provided with a table with a list of fruits and their densities. The student determined the volume of each fruit using a displacement can and a measuring cylinder. What other piece of equipment will the student need to determine the density of each fruit? So this would be a balance or a set of scales. And then finally, write down the equation which links density, mass and volume. So density equals mass divided by volume. Worked example part 2. The mass of an apple was 85 grams. The density of the apple was 0.68 grams per centimetre cubed. Calculate the volume of the apple. Give your answer in centimetre cubed. So firstly, highlight what you're given. I'm given mass 85 and I'm given density. My units are fine. State the equation that you know. Density equals mass divided by volume, and then substitute in for your guaranteed mark. So density 0.68 equals 85 divided by V, the volume. I'll need to rearrange that, which will give me V equals 85 divided by 0.68. Put that into the calculator and I get an answer of 125 centimetre cubed. How would you have got on? Time for a question. Practice now. A student measured the width of a solid metal cube using a digital micrometer. The figure below shows the micrometer. We have the metal cube in between the jaws and a reading of 18.45 millimeters. The resolution of the micrometer is 0.01 millimeters. The student could have used a meter rule to measure the width of the cube. Okay, two parts to the question now for 2 marks each. Pause the video, read the questions and have a go. How did you get on? So for the first part, the meter rule has a lower resolution, so it is less accurate. And for the next part, with 0 error, you would record it when there is no object on the balance, and you would either subtract or add the value of the 0 error. How did you get on? Do we understand this? Make sure you're checking your answers against the GCSE mark scheme. Practice part 2. The width of the cube was 18.45 millimetres. The density of the cube was 8 times 10 to the 3 kilograms per metre cubed. Calculate the mass of the cube. Pause the video and have a go. So how did you get on? Make sure that you're highlighting your data. And you should realise that the cube width is given in millimetres, whereas the density is given in metres. So use the guess method to calculate this. We've been given density, we've been given volume. The volume is 18.45 times 10 to the minus 3 metres. And that should be cubed because we're not looking at width, we're looking at volume. Units, density are okay, and then I've calculated there what the volume should be. Equation, state the equation, density equals mass divided by volume. Substitute in. Density, 8 times 10 to the 3 equals mass divided by 6.28 times 10 to the minus 6. This will need rearranging to give mass equals 8 times 10 to the 3 times 6.28 times 10 to the minus 6 equals 0.0502 kilograms. How did you get on? If you wish, you can check this against the GCSE mark scheme. Here is the GCSE mark scheme, this time without guess. How did you get on?